This was a question I wrestled with when I was a tween and a teenager. Welcome to Mother-Daughter Connections, the show dedicated to educating, encouraging, and equipping moms to build lasting, meaningful connections with their daughters. I'm your host and mother-daughter relationship personal trainer, Dr. Michelle Deering. My heart is to be of help to you. I believe that your relationship with your mom is the foundation for your future success, personally, parentally, and professionally. Now remember, even though I'm a licensed psychologist, I'm not your shrink on this show. I am, however, here to share my opinions and those of my guests. If you have concerns about your mental health, please seek services from a mental health provider in your local area. Now join me as we pause to consider today's topic. Has your daughter stopped talking to you the way she used to? Well, that could be for any number of reasons. Maybe something was said or not said, or maybe something was done or not done, or maybe you both just got your wires crossed. Whatever the reason, there are definite research-based principles that you can use to get your daughter talking to you again. And I've put those principles in my Get Your Daughter Talking Now online course. It's a self-paced, 3-module step-by-step program that you can use to fix the lines of communication between you and your daughter, regardless of her age. Just go to www.getyourdaughtertalkingnow.com to start rebuilding your relationship today. And if you've already purchased the program, awesome. Just make sure that you share the link with your mom friends so that they can get in on the healing. The link again is www.getyourdaughtertalkingnow.com. Now let's hop into today's episode. Well, hi there and welcome. I am always excited when we get to spend time here together. And if you are a tween or a teen listening to this with your mom or moms, if you're just listening to this by yourself or you're with your teen or tween daughter, thank you so much for taking the time to spend here with me. You know, today I have been just reminiscing about the old days. Geez, I'm just like dating myself. But do you remember when there used to be only 7 channels on TV? I'm really dating myself with this. So if you can just bear with me for a second. I'm from the Bronx, New York. Go the Bronx, okay? And back in the day, there used to be only 7 channels. There was Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9, WPIX Channel 11, and Channel 13, which was the PBS public broadcasting station. And sometimes, depending on the TV brand that you bought, there'd be this other little thing in the middle called I think it's called a UHV channel, where you could probably get some kind of Spanish-speaking program if you had the right antennas on your TV. Anyway, I digress. But there were 7 options for viewing TV. And at some point when cable arrived, it came with the accompanying channels like CNN and Turner Broadcasting Network and all those kind of things. And the landscape and options for TV viewing really changed and expanded exponentially, right? Now, all of this was happening prior to the advent of the internet. And I really, as I'm listening to myself, I really sound like, you know, someone who's from the Stone Ages, at least my daughters, and they're just like, what? You didn't have cell phones back then? It's like, no, we didn't. But prior to the internet, the process for seeking employment or networking or communicating or connecting with other people was done through either the old-fashioned letters, where you wrote something on paper, licked a stamp, put it in the United States Postal Service, put it in the mailbox, or you made phone calls, like really talking to a live person, and then you would interview and you'd meet with the person in person, and then you'd likely give them a handshake, like physically use your hand to give them a handshake, right? Now, I was with my BFF hubby, who you may or may not know, you know, he was doing his doctorate at MIT at the time, but we were there when the internet was born. You know, we saw things coming down the pike. And within less than a decade of the birth of the internet, all of a sudden the process for seeking employment, networking, and communicating and connecting with other people started being done through likes on posts or texts, messages on your smartphones, or interviews, but they were done online. And, if you're a tween or a teen, when you get to college, if that's the route you choose, there's this thing out there called Handshake, which is really a platform for procuring some kind of employment. So you do a handshake virtually, all right, to meet people. So why am I talking about social media, the internet, and what does that have to do with employment? And why am I even talking about employment? After all, if you're a tween or a teen and you don't have a part-time job yet, okay, you're a queen in training. And you're listening to this, right? And I know that you're in school and that you're busy with your academics and you're participating in some kind of extracurricular activity or sport, or you're just trying to figure out who your friends are, who your frenemies are, and trying to have some fun, okay, right? Well, at some point, years from now, far, far, far in the distance, it might feel to you, you'll need to put a roof over your head, your own head. And your mom and or dad are not going to be expecting you to live with them under their roof forever. And I know you just want to live your own life and make your own decisions, right? It's only natural, and I get it. You're fully capable of doing so. I believe that about you. So what I want to do today is to pause with you and ask you to consider this one question. What does being social look like for you? This was a question I wrestled with when I was a tween and a teenager. And the crux of my wrestling stemmed from the conflict I had with my own mom about it. You see, she was very gregarious and outgoing, while I was more introverted and quiet, aka shy. And she drew energy from being around different groups of people at all different points in time, whereas I was just a little bit more selective about the venues and the frequency with which I had my social interactions. And I got most of that social interaction through sports and athletic teams and in the academic study groups that I was a part of. It's not like I didn't get invited or go to actual parties. I would get invited. I just wouldn't know quite what to do when I got there, and it took me a while to kind of figure it out. And I've since, grown in this area of my life. Right now, my own daughters think that I'm just like this little chatterbox, because inevitably I'll go outside, and within moments of, say, being in a store, someone has struck up a conversation with me, or I've struck up a conversation with someone, and next thing you know, we're there for 30 minutes or more, just chatting, getting to know each other, connecting. I love it. But today, the landscape is way different for you as a tween and a teenager. I get it. Most of the socializing that you do is on social media, okay, in addition to going to school, if you happen to go in person to school. And even if you do the remote or you're being homeschooled, there's still areas in which you have to socialize, but it's different. It's got a combination of both. So a little bit more social media than the other, okay? And I've seen and I've helped our own twin daughters and the daughters of my mom clients navigate the balance of how to engage in social media and how to be social on social media. So as you consider this question, what does being social look like for you? I'd like you to think about it in terms of being social on social media. And I really want you to remember that social media is a powerful tool through which you can exercise your individual volitional power to be social by selecting, omitting, curating, initiating, and leveraging, right? By selecting, I mean that you have the power to take the initiative to choose what you want to keep in terms of what you take in from social media. And you have the power to omit, meaning to choose what you want to keep out. And you also have the power to curate. And by curate, I'm talking about consciously selecting and organizing material for either distributing or displaying things to advance what's important to you. You also have the power to initiate communication and leverage your own unique abilities. So think about it. You have the power within you to do all of this. in terms of being social, selecting, omitting, curating, initiating, and leveraging on social media. Now, there are many ways that your powerful use of this powerful tool can have a powerful impact, both positive and negative, on not only your life as you know it now, but also on your life in the future. And even if you don't know exactly what your life's going to be looking like in the future, you can still directly affect it by what you decide to say, snap, do, and or post on social media now. So I'd like you to give some thought to that. And as you think about it, I'd love to hear from you. Just send me an email to dr.deering@curativeconnections.com. That's my email. It's the letters DR with a little period, and then the letters DEERING, that's my last name, at curative, CURATIVE, connections, CONNECTIONS.com. If you're a queen in training, let me know what being social on social media means to you. Just drop me a few lines. Let me know what that means to you. And moms, if you're listening here with your tween or teen daughter, you can actually write me too. I'd love to hear from you. Just let me know. I know you're busy. Just write yes or no in the body of your email, the answer to this question. Are you comfortable with how your daughter is using social media? Again, just send your email answer to me. The email is dr.deering@curativeconnections.com. Put in the subject line social media and then answer the question. Queen in training, your question is, what does being social on social media mean for you? And moms, answer the question, are you comfortable with how your daughter is using social media? And just write in the subject line social media and then put the answer in the body, yes or no. Now, next week, I'll be sharing some pointers about social media, and these are going to be straight up, keeping it 100, and it's coming straight from my own twin daughters. Make sure you listen in, okay? In the meantime, do click 5 stars on the platform that you're listening to this podcast on. Click the 5 stars and write a brief comment about the podcast. I'd love to hear from you. I read all of them. And if you're part of my email community, I respond to your comments. I'll do a little personal shout out to you. This is a free resource, this podcast, and I'd love your help in getting it into the hands and ears of more moms. We're at cresting over 100,000 moms. My goal is to reach 1 million moms. We're in 35 plus countries. This works organically as you leave a 5-star review and just write a comment, brief comment in the comments section. That would be a great help, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Until next time, remember, healthy mother-daughter relationships are possible. They just take one curative connection at a time. I'll see you next week. You've been listening to Mother-Daughter Connections with me, your host and mother-daughter relationship personal trainer, Dr. Michelle Deering. Thanks so much for joining me today. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Share this episode with a friend so they don't miss an episode. And download the resource in the show notes. Until next time, remember to pause to consider how you can connect intentionally so you can improve relationally with your daughter.